Hello, hello,
Happy
hello.
Sunday! Welcome to Immersion.
Yes, Wendy and I had to interrupt our very interesting discussion about gas. We're like, it's 7 o'clock, we gotta go. Those
Well,
of you that were with us on Wednesday heard our tale of going to the Oriental doctor the previous night, and I had told her I started taking the medicine that we both got pretty similar.
yeah.
Like a day ahead of her, and I was like, man, I have got gas. And she had, but it was just like for a day or so. So
Yeah.
we won't be interrupting this webinar with anything noxious, hopefully. What a
I
way to
hope not.
start the webinar, huh?
I
We're
know.
so professional.
I know. Hey, they're people too. It all
Yeah.
happens.
So anyway, I spent this weekend with my sister. She had surgery. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks, and she's still pretty weak and tired, and it's a pretty severe surgery. Not my cup of tea, but you know. Anyway, so I was with her all weekend. You know, caring for her, carrying things, opening things, moving things, that kind of thing. I got some really good sleep though, because working
Good.
from home, you're so busy doing stuff. And she was going to bed at like 7. And I'm like, well, well, I guess I'll read a little longer, and I guess I'll be going to bed too.
Yeah. Well, because you never know if they're going to wake up in the middle of the night when they're recovering and need some attention.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't. She had said that before I got there that she was getting up in the night, so I was prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I'd hear a noise, I'd be like, is that her? Is she walking around, So I'd get up and like, okay, no, I don't see her. I think she's okay. But then during the day, yesterday, she was lying on the couch making these weird noises. So I came out because I was trying to be quiet in the guest room, so she could sleep. I heard these weird sounds, so I came out there and I'm looking at her and I'm like, I think she's sleeping. So I just kind of stood there for a while and the sound stopped. So I went back in the guest room, got comfortable. The sound started again. So I came there and I'm looking at her and I'm like, I think she's asleep. What's going on? And I'm like, all right, I think she's just. Anyway, so I'm like, surely she heard me because she's got creaky wood floors.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so it's kind of an interesting thing to babysit my adult sister.
Right. Yeah.
And I couldn't feed her much. She can't eat. She really can't eat. I'm like,
Liquids.
yeah, she's doing liquids and some little, like she can eat a little bit at a time and then a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. So anyway, so I hope somebody else had a more exciting weekend. Maybe did things outside. A nice walk through the woods. Anybody?
I got
Anybody?
to,
Give me
I got
something.
to, I got to pet a turtle today.
Ooh.
Yeah, they had a turtle and some kind of reptile and a very, very beautiful bird and a tarantula over at Kendall 10 with a movie theater that's right here. And they also, because of the Cinderella movie, they had somebody dressed up as Cinderella. So I took my granddaughter over, and she was way more enthralled with the spider and the lizard. I'm not sure what kind of lizard it was. Than she was Cinderella. So we hung out by them. So when none of the kids were looking, I pet its head, because I didn't. I was, they were all touching its shell. It was huge. It was probably 50 pounds. But I always wanted to touch a turtle's head, but
Uh-huh.
I didn't want them to do it. So I kind of snuck it. It was kind of cool. It's
Yeah.
just like what you would imagine it would feel,
Kind
scaly
of
but soft.
leathery or
Hmm?
kind of leathery or
Yeah, yeah, and a little scaly but soft. And she just said, "Go very, very slow, or you'll completely freak them out." And I was like, "Okay, I can do that." So it's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. Not as good as walking in the woods, but
oh,
Kathy said that she raked the yard and got rid of some thatch in the grass.
yay.
Yeah, it's a
Yay. Oh,
good
I guess
day,
I
a
have to
good
go to the
weekend for it.
too. Oh, Lisa's not with us tonight. Anybody notice? We got so engrossed in our conversation. Lisa's under the weather.
Yeah, having a less exciting weekend than you.
Huh?
Having a less exciting weekend than you.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we wish her, she'll hopefully tap in and be involved with us. And
yeah.
I have a friend, I spoke to her, she on Friday night, Saturday night, I don't know. And I mentioned her before. She hasn't been able to get on because of her work, but she knows, she still feels, she still taps in, and she was telling me how her neck, I think we talked about that, her neck is just getting better and better all the time.
That's good.
She's able to do something she didn't remember ever being able to do. That's how long she's had this neck problem. I don't remember what it was. Anyway. Anywho.
Cindy said that she walked on some trails this afternoon. It was beautiful. Lots of people there.
Yeah.
I bet there was.
Perfect weather for it to be outside and not too muddy. I don't mind getting muddy, but not everybody like that. So it was nice. Everything's pretty dry now and everything. So, all right. So tonight's topic is past lives. And that's another one like astral travel that's a common phraseology that we use that isn't necessarily accurate, but everybody knows what you're talking about when you say past lives. And it's very exciting. It's so exciting because we live forever, and this earthly experience is just one rotation on that never-ending coil. So we'll get to that after the healing part. During the healing part, I'll be channeling energy. It'll go to you, and you get to receive it to the degree that you choose and that is most to your highest good, and it'll flow to where it needs to flow. I notice I say a lot. I've got to stop that. Flowing to you through quantum space, and you will experience it mentally, emotionally, physically. You might not notice it at all. Just know that it's happening. We prefer that you sit or lie down. Well, how many people sit and watch a computer while they're standing up? But so we would like you to be sitting or lying down, preferably someplace where nobody's going to interrupt you. Post any of your questions or comments in the chat box on the right of your screen. We'd love to hear from you. We love your questions.
Mm-hmm. And we do have some great questions already for tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah. They're multi-layered, so it'll be good.
Oh, good. Just throw them at me and see what happens. Okay. During the healing portion, it will be silence. Oh, darn it. I had my photo up, and I was trying to figure out how to make it full screen, and I couldn't. So it's going to have to be partial screen. But we need to do that because when people watch on YouTube, if they just kind of are scanning through and there's a portion where it's silent and it's looking at my window, that's kind of confusing. So I post that photo so that anybody who happens to on YouTube, which people are, I don't know where they're coming from, but it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see it, and so they have some idea kind of what's happening if they happen to, like, if they what do you call it, fast forward or something. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so. Oh, just don't expect, if you're new to this, don't have any expectations of how it should be or how it could be. Some people have some really, really amazing experiences where they have visions and so forth, but just because yours isn't like that doesn't mean that it's not good, because everybody feels it differently. Sometimes people don't feel anything for a couple of days, so don't get too caught up in what you expect or what you think it should be. Just allow it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Close your eyes and let it be an internal experience.
Yes, good point. I forgot about that one. Yeah. All right. Okay, let me put up my screen. I gotta find the little share button. Dang it. Why why is this not here? This should be there. Aha! Why does it... One of these days I will... It flashed and then it wasn't there. I want this. This is what I want. Yes! Ah, dang, it went back. Oh!
Frustration.
Okay, I'm gonna have to. It showed it. All right, I'm gonna do one quick thing, and if that doesn't work, then we're off. So I hope you're getting ready, calling anybody in that you want, your family, your friends, loved ones from elsewhere. They can be breathing or not breathing. And your intention for them to participate is sufficient. They will receive it to the degree that is to their highest good, but include them, invite them, and they'll hear you. So let's try this again. Nope. Open. No, 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 no. Okay, is somebody out there what do you call it, a computer savvy? Like, reach through the phone and help me.
Maybe for these nights it doesn't work. Just a sign.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna. You know what? I wonder if I can't just imprint, like insert it into the webinar. Okay, so you guys will get to look out my window. Actually, you're not supposed to look out the window. You're supposed to be closing your eyes. All right, here we go.
All right, ready, go.
Ready? All right, I'm back. Come on back if you want.
I know I say something similar every week, but I just don't think that's anything I'll ever get tired of. Just
Oh,
can't get enough of.
oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me feel so good.
Yeah. How about anybody else? What was your experience? Mine was just a lot of sweet love, although I did feel a very large being here for a short time. Large, like large. Like it took up, like went up to my ceiling.
Cool.
Kind of cool, yeah. He makes my forehead like I get a frontal headache whenever he's around.
Third eye.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Pretty crazy. So I'm like, welcome, but don't stay too long. No, I'm kidding. I didn't
Yeah,
say that
yeah.
part.
No, they know, and they'll stay as long. It'll happen as long as you can tolerate it, you know.
Yeah.
And because clearly it's expanding something um
Yeah.
in your third eye pineal area, and they know that we might explode if they too far. You know,
Cindy.
and to go from say that you're on a metaphysical scale operating at a 2 to
Mm-hmm.
all the way to a 10 like that. I mean, that would be
Right.
adjusting. So it's
That'd
kind of,
be a little rough, yeah.
yeah. I mean, and for some people, they have some kind of accident, they hit their head or lightning strikes them or something, and poof,
Right.
automatic, just in an instant they become, their metaphysical gifts are enhanced. But that's more the exception than the rule, and I can't imagine getting struck by lightning is a whole lot of
Oh,
fun.
God, no. Mm-mm. Cindy says that she's so relaxed.
Oh,
I hear you, Cindy. And Kathy said, I did not get anything today, but I've been getting things like in images all weekend. That's
oh,
wonderful.
okay.
Yeah.
So, like we said, and um, the energy's still flowing, and
Hmm.
you know, maybe it had to fix your pinky, and so you didn't notice it or something. Who knows? I don't.
Yeah. Cindy also said that she had forehead pain again, too. We shared this last time, too. And a
Really?
lot of pressure in the palm of her hand. Yeah, we both had
Which
that
hand?
lesson. Which hand, Cindy?
Okay.
It was great. I felt the energy was surrounding my body in a protective bubble. That's awesome. Way to go,
Oh,
Shannon.
yay!
Like a big hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those. Remember the thing about the Bubble Boy? I don't know if that was a real thing or just some TV movie or something. But
Hmm.
wouldn't it be nice?
Well, you know what it just made me think of? Have you seen that Big Hero 6? When you said
Mm.
Bubble Boy, this is what popped in my head. It's um it's a kids movie, and the guy in it is a robot, but he looks like a giant marshmallow, and he always wants to hug people.
Oh,
Yeah.
why is that bringing up
Oh,
memories?
Cindy's it's her right hand. So she's
Okay.
got pressure in the palm of her right hand.
Yeah, she's gonna start working on healing, folks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All
Uh,
right.
okay.
So do we want to start? Because I've got
Yeah.
some questions. We can,
Yeah.
maybe
Let's
these will
go.
prompt some other questions. Okay, so we'll start with this one. How do you know if past lives have been healed after you go back to say sorry or to forgive someone for harming you?
How do you know if past lives has been healed if you go back and say sorry? So you're
Right.
in this earthly, are they talking about they're in this earthly life and
Right.
they take a
They-
journey?
We're in this earthly life, and we do a regression, or something where
Oh,
we go
okay.
back and we
Yeah.
say we're sorry. So how can we be sure they've been healed? I have to turn around.
Excuse me. um, Saying sorry isn't always the answer. So just saying sorry isn't going to be sufficient in a lot of cases. Um, and think of your life, this earthly life. You know that just because somebody said sorry doesn't heal a whole lot. Hold on. So if you stand in that experience, you sit with it, see how you feel. If you still feel a hook, you still feel some kind of something's off, then there's more work to be done. And if it was me, in doing that kind of work, I wouldn't go in with the intention of saying sorry. I would go in with the intention of being with it and sitting with it and allowing it. They're showing, it's more like the two or whoever's all involved in it, sitting kind of, like lotus position and allowing that experience to kind of swirl around them, and everybody involved sitting and allowing it to be and allowing it to settle down. That's not to say that you can't feel sorry for what happened, but when you say sorry, and think about this, if I say sorry to Lisa because I bumped into her or something, what does Lisa say?
Oh, that's okay.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, and I meant Wendy. You say, oh, that's okay. So now I put it on her. I was saying sorry, but I put it on her because now she has to take care of me and say, oh, that's okay. And notice that anywhere you go, when you say sorry, the other person has to says something back, and they become the caretaker. So sorry is kind of I'm not a big fan of sorry. Do
you think that it should be more like, please forgive me? Oh, forgive me? Or do you think that's unnecessary also?
It feels more like I take responsibility for my actions. Okay. And so that means if I bumped Wendy, I said, at least I know. So say I bumped you, and instead of saying I'm sorry, I take responsibility and I say, okay, so I knocked you and you knocked the chair over, so I'm going to pick the chair up and I'm going to do what I need to do to fix what I did. I'm going to take ownership of it. Instead of just being like, oh, I'm sorry, and keep going. Mm-hmm. and obviously I'm making this very, very simplistic. Yeah, no, that's clearly it's about ownership and responsibility, and we all know that we live now in a society where nobody wants to take responsibility. We all want to pass the buck on to somebody else. We all have excuses for why we were late for work and why we didn't do this and why that happened. And we always have excuses, instead of just.
So doing I think what some people call it is like a soul retrieval, where you go back and you go to a certain lifetime and you try to heal a situation, and so that's not always taking care of it. Is that what you're saying?
So a soul retrieval, at least how I use that term, soul retrieval, is you have an experience, and if it's traumatic, what happens is a piece of you kind of breaks off. Mm-hmm. Because it's so traumatic, so that piece breaks off, and so you need to bring that piece back to make you whole again. Mm-hmm. Most of us are walking off little bits flopping all over the place. And I use this example all the time. If you ever remember those Mutual of Omaha or any of those kind of animal shows?
Yeah.
When the lion is getting the antelope or whatever, and you see the antelope's eyes, and you're looking at that going, oh my God, how is that even? Oh, I can't even fathom that. But when you look and see in their eyes, they're gone. It's like they're not even there.
Mhm.
It's so traumatic that they, they leave. So the same thing happens with us. Hopefully we're not going to get eaten by a lion, but when we have a trauma, like a childhood thing, or we lose a loved one and we don't know how to handle it, or anything, and there's a spectrum, obviously, of severe to or mild to severe. Um, so a soul retrieval is bringing parts of us back. I think what you're referring to is when you're going back to a situation and interacting with somebody else. Is
Yeah,
that what you're
and,
saying?
and I might be using the wrong phrase for it because I know I have had soul retrievals where they're exactly what you're talking about. But there's something else too where you get taken back to a situation
Yes.
in your past where you have to face the music more or less,
Yes.
and and you have to talk to the person or people that you have wronged, and you have to say you have to say that you're now sorry for whatever you've done, and that and make amends that way. So I think that so that is not effective is basically what we're saying, or what they're saying.
We're doing energy work. We're doing energy exchange. We are interacting with other beings on an energetic level. What words we use don't matter so much. If you are in reality, maybe you're saying that word sorry, and maybe the person that's working with you is guiding you to say that. The important thing is that you and your soul energetically feel and are responsible, and acknowledging that yes, you screwed up, or you did the best that you could in that situation and you
Hmm.
wish it had been better. um,
And the person that asked all these questions is also asking, so responsibility of the offense needs to be owned by me. So that's the same thing as what you're saying now, is that, if your intention, if you go in there and you're heartfelt and you take responsibility, then that is something that's meaningful then in a past life, rather than just saying, oh, I'm sorry.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Okay.
And um, those, some of you have worked with me one-on-one or in group settings or whatever, and I'll if I'm working with you to get that done, you know, you can be standing there and you can be saying what you're supposed to be saying, but if it's not coming through energetically, we're going to keep you there
Yeah.
until you get deep enough into the experience that you can really express in that way. And not it can't come from the head. It has
Right.
to
It's
come
got to
from
come
the
from
heart
the
and the gut.
heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's asking more, and there's even more questions from the other day, but this is, for this one.
Uh-huh.
The present me or the other life me has to make amends. Could I stop or change that incident?
So by living your life having learned lessons, so in my life now, if I come across a situation that isn't, it's not going to look exactly the same, but has that same energetic feel to something that happened in a different experience, different life.
Hmm.
If the way that I behave now, the way that I respond, the way that I interact, the way that I take ownership, will carry over to that past experience and lighten that up. So if by my learning and growing, that's fixing that experience, that type of experience, that lesson, whatever you want to call it, across your lifetimes.
That
Clear?
makes sense. Yeah. I don't know. Kathy, you'll have to say whether or not that makes sense to you. What else she said though was, can you can you cut cords to that lifetime?
Those the ones know me. I don't like the whole cutting cords thing. I like to so that there is no cord. But so say an attachment, can we say, do you want to release an attachment to that lifetime? Or was she talking about a lifetime or an incident?
Well, she was talking about lifetimes because
Okay.
that's
We're
part of
asking
the.
about cutting a cord to a lifetime?
Yeah, well, see, okay, here. I'm going to say probably an incident because it dovetailed off the question of how do you know if past lives have been healed after you go back to say sorry or ask for forgiveness. So then I'm going to say in that lifetime you've done something to cut a cord to it.
Okay, so it is in that. Why do you want to cut a cord to something in your life? I don't think I'm answering. I don't think I'm getting the question. That's your experience. You don't want to like have it not part of your experience. It is part of your experience. Why do you want to cut your connection to it? I am not clear here.
Okay, well maybe she can
Yeah.
explain. But
So
she did say she understands the other part.
okay. So
Okay.
Kathy, if you could
So
clarify what.
while she comes back to answer that, let's she's got some more great ones here.
Okay.
Can lives like your current can lives and past lives overlap? So can you be finishing one life and starting another?
Okay. You're in all of them at all times. There's no time, remember? We here see time linearly. Linearly, is that a word? In a linear fashion. Um, so we think that there's past lives and future lives. There isn't. It is your life. Remember we talked about the coil? It was a few sessions ago. You
Right.
know, if you had a long spring, an eternal spring, each coil would be a life, but they're all part of your life. They're not. There's not a first or last. You know, because like in Scripture, it says there's a prayer, whatever, and it says something about these are the earliest days of my life, and I'm thinking, how does that mean? If there's no time, how can this be the earliest days of my life? So I haven't, and I thought, well, wait a minute. If I live forever, every day is the earliest day of my life, So,
Well, that's true.
it's always going to be evolving, growing. So what was
Okay.
was that? Did I answer the question? I remember now what the question was.
Yeah, basically she was just asking, can you be finishing one life and starting another? So yeah, they all overlap each other.
Yes.
Was the question. Yeah. And she said that I think I told you that she understands, but she said yes, cut the cord to a lifetime in which an incident occurred.
That is your experience.
So don't do it.
Why would you want to?
All right, one more question from the other day, and then I have some new ones popping up here. Okay. Can you die and immediately be born to start another life?
Again, no time. The moment you die, the moment you drop your bones, all you did was drop your bones. You exist already. You exist eternally. Okay, this is your eternal life. This earthly experience is just one piece on that thing. So you drop your bones and you're still already on this eternal life.
Yeah.
So you're not like reborn or something. You already exist. And that's why, like when we were talking about the other day about astral travel and when we're dreaming and all that, because we're having all those experiences, because we're experiencing on this path. This earthly life is just one piece. We're always having this thing. This eternal life is always happening. Whether we're conscious of it or not, it's always going on. So the same, like I always use this example of Earth being, like a weekend at Vegas. So you might be at Vegas and forgetting about everything, but you know what? In the back of your mind, you know darn well that you're going back home. You went to Vegas to have a weekend away, to gamble or, whatever people do in Vegas. But I guess nobody knows because whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So you're having, but you know that you're going to be going home on Sunday or Monday or whatever, So it's I mean, I don't know, just an analogy, but you know, your real life is not Las Vegas.
Gotcha. Do we have the same guides in multiple lifetimes?
Some, yes. Yes.
Can we meet ourselves in a crossing of another life?
Yes, simple answer, yes.
Well, that would be pretty cool.
Hmm. It's a bit startling.
I think it would be.
Hmm.
I don't have any other questions right now. Does anybody have any other questions?
Oh, my little girl is with me, and she wants to know if we have been significant to each other in another life. Hold on.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's a wise soul you got there, that daughter of yours. In your non-earthly existence, uh, she's actually more of a mother to you. Not, I don't think she is your mother. Let's see, hold on. She's more of a guide towards you. She's actually more advanced than you are. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I was just talking with somebody about that the other night, about how some people do come back and be with the same people in different ways. You know, like I believe my sister's family. Well, that's a whole other thing. We don't need to go into that, but that's pretty cool, Carol. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Something about when the mom is 50. I have no idea how old. Well, if she has a little girl, well, I guess she could have a little girl at 50, but um, around age 50, there'll be something significant.
She said, "Wow, you just made her so happy."
Oh, yeah. And I'd like to know how close to 50, well, if she wants to share. Well, who knows who Carol is? I mean, there's a million Carols. So if you want to share how old you are, but or if you already hit 50 or not, I guess maybe is more important. Um,
Kathy said, "Thank you for all the great answers." And Cindy said, "I feel like I knew one of my guides in a different lifetime, but he was in the physical world there. Is that possible?"
of course. And remember, there are degrees of physical. My hold on. Earth is a pretty heavy world experience, although there are planets that are heavier. Boy, I wouldn't want to go there. So the heavier the planet is, the realm, the sphere, whatever, um, the more seemingly away from the metaphysical and spiritual that it is. So it's more of a challenge. If you're living in a realm, so like when you drop your bones, you're all non-physical, and so it's a little easier to get the whole spirit thing because you're a spirit and you can feel it. But as you're living your life and you have different experiences on different spheres and planets and whatever, some are heavier than others and some feel more physical than others. So that's on that spectrum of the further it is towards the physical and away from the spiritual, it feels heavier. So I had a point for going here. And they're going, keep going. I'm like, okay, but where was I now? Sometimes it comes so fast and I get all caught up. I'm like, where was I? Okay, hold on. Oh, and they're saying it feels like physical, but it never really is. So,
She said, "He has shown me things from a different lifetime."
uh-huh. And how are you going to see those? How are they going to be shown to you? If your conscious self is accustomed to this earthly life, if you're going to be shown something to your conscious self, it's going to be shown to you in a way that you can understand, that makes sense to you. And what makes sense to you is something that looks like Earth. They show you something that looks like a giraffe, then you kind of, might not be a giraffe, but you get the idea that it's a vegetarian, gentle being. If they show you, something scary, you get the idea of what that means. These are representations, ways of getting messages to us, because we are not physical beings. We are spiritual beings. But we need a way to get that across, to get those messages across. The same like, the Bible is full of allegorical stories and Aesop's fables. It's all about the Brothers Grimm. These are all ways of conveying a moral or spiritual message using visual things that we can understand. Okay?
Yeah.
So when he's showing you things, yeah, it's cool to, kind of see the places and stuff. Like I said last time, that I know what my house looks like. I know what it looks like. I don't know how physical, it's not a physical thing, but I have the image of it. How I will experience it when I'm there is, I don't know. I know how to experience this. Obviously I have some metaphysical experience, but I still, on a day-to-day basis, I'm living in a house with solid, seemingly solid furniture. So the important thing is to get the message of what they're trying to convey. If he's showing you a family at dinner, the important thing is the concept of connection to other beings, that are important to you. Having dinner together is cool. Being Cleopatra is cool. But it's more important to have the understanding of what that message is. Cleopatra was a very, very interesting woman. If anybody's read any biographies about her, I've read a few, and very interesting. So if you're getting shown that you're Cleopatra, and everybody wasn't Cleopatra. But that image of somebody that's a powerful woman, in a man's world, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Carol said that in 1 year she will be 50.
Oh, okay.
Something's coming.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
And then we still have a bunch of other questions, too.
Okay, keep going. How much time we got? Oh, we're running out of time.
I know. This. I'm like, we are.
Don't anybody despair. All these topics, we'll be visiting these over and again, because it's just so interesting to explore. And anyway.
If we are humans, do we always come back as human?
You are always a creature of God, and you are always sentient as that. You always that spiritual being that you are always that, having different experiences in different worlds and realms. You don't usually come back to Earth. Again, we have that view because that's what we are familiar with. The universe is infinite. You're having experiences, and you continue. We are living forever, and we are continually growing and expanding our consciousness and our spiritual and connection and all that through various experiences on different places all over the universe. And yes, you are always having this experience. Your eternal life is always happening. And again, you're having things along the way, but you are always this being. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay.
So the bottom line is, no, we're not always human.
Human, as far as, if you're using the term
earthling,
find somebody who is
an earthling.
Homo sapien living on Earth, then no.
Right.
If you mean by human someone who is, a loving being, spiritual being on whatever planet or place, then yes.
Yeah.
Depends how you mean human.
Okay. Is there a situation, wait a minute, nope, I missed one. Hello, can you expand on the concept of crossing paths with yourself in another life?
It's like, it's you, the image that I got was like the two of you, like, so this is me, with the mirror image, so this is the mirror image, if this is me and this is my mirror image, like up against each other, but there is a film, like a malleable plastic or something, sheath between that you don't come through, but you can see and feel and hold on. So it's like this one's kind of looking into this one's world and going, oh, well, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna remember that lesson. I see what happened over there. I'm gonna take that with me into this experience, and not fall into that trap because I see what happened over here. But it is not. It's not that it doesn't ever happen, but it is not advisable for you to go through that film. It mucks up everything. Even though, again, there's no time and everything's all happening at the same time, but each coil of that spring is independent. And if you ever if you ever pulled apart a spring and try to put it back together and things get all tangled up and this coil gets wrapped up in that coil, it doesn't work very well. It's much better if each coil is sufficient unto itself and, not tangled up with the other ones, even though they're all the same coil. I mean, the same spring.
Gotcha. Well, I think we have time for one more question, and this one seems like it would be easy. I'm going to use quotation marks here. Is there a situation where the child has to take care of the parent due to parent's drug use or whatever? Is this prearranged?
Sometimes. And drug use, and especially when it gets to be that advanced that you need to be taken care of, that's a huge, huge problem because you are mucking up that eternal line. You are messing with the very fiber of what that is with drug use. Alcohol being included in a drug, it's also a drug. So I'm getting an image, so I'm not clear if this is this particular situation, whoever they're referring to. No, they're saying it doesn't mean for everybody, but for whatever reason they want me to say this. That this person, so this is an example, this isn't a situation, again, I don't know who this is. The person came in knowing that they would have challenges. They chose to have some serious challenges. And, we all know that, well, sometimes drug use happens because there are chemical and mineral imbalances in the body. And so that is kind of not our fault. Well, nothing's our fault. I don't want to sound like I'm blaming or judging or anything. That's not what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so in this case, this person kind of knew that they were going to be on the edge, that they were at risk to have trouble and turn to these kind of escape vehicles. And another being, a companion, came in as the child to try and mitigate that and help with that. So this one came in for the lesson. This one came in to help this one along, to support this one, because they knew it was going to be tough.
She's saying that that was a hypothetical situation.
Okay.
It was just an example.
Okay. Well, then this is an example of, as I said, if it was a particular, this is what they wanted me to share.
Yeah. We've had some really great questions tonight. Thank you, everybody. I'm trying to type it and say it at the same time right now. But it's 7:56.
Okay.
So the questions that weren't asked, I will keep we'll just do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Are there enough questions that we could just go to
Well,
a continuation on Wednesday, or should we go to something else?
there are, let me see. Well, there's really just one more question.
Oh, okay. Well, if there's just one more, let's do it quick.
All right.
Anybody
I
needs to
thought
go
I thought there was two. Okay, if I was 20 years old in one life and I met another me who was the same or different age in the same life, would we recognize each other?
That's getting complex. Because the instance where you would meet yourself in one experience would be um, few and far between, and so the circumstances under which that would happen, it's a pretty complex formula. We can't do that in a couple of minutes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep it then.
Okay.
But the little girl's dying to know what's going to happen when her mom turns 50.
It's more like 51. It's the year. It's not a one-time incident. It's an ongoing thing. Because it's somewhere between 50 and 51. It might be a week, a month, I don't know. Something's going to be happening with the mom, and the girl is going to see the mom and know what's happening for her, and out of her mouth or her actions, something will come that will clarify for the mom. Something that'll be very wise, very clear, very understanding. So listen to her.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes there's so many times when our kids say something so fantastic and we're just like, oh, well, you're a kid, you don't know, as a society.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate because they are just amazing little creatures, and they might be young in earth lives, but like we've been saying, the soul's eternal. They know things.
Yeah. Yeah, and they haven't shut themselves off from that.
Yeah.
Christiane Northrup, she's a medical doctor.
Yeah.
She's I don't know if she's an obstetrician, I'm pretty sure she is, but she works with women's bodies. And in the beginning of her book, Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom, Women's Bodies, I forget what it's called, she conveys a story of there's like a 3-year-old child, and the parent, the mom comes home with a new baby, and the little boy, I think it was, keeps asking his parents to be alone with the baby, and they kind of just pass it off, and because you don't want to have a 3-year-old alone with a baby, and they're a little concerned, so they kind of like just avoid the question of, and then finally, but he's insisting, and it just goes on and on and on. He just keeps asking, "Can I be alone with the baby?" So finally, they decide to let him. So they choose they stay right outside the door. They don't let him see him, but they stay right outside the door because they want to make sure, obviously, everybody's safe. And the little boy goes over to the baby and says, "Tell me what God looks like. I'm starting to forget."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I might have the story, I might not have the exact details, but I mean, that's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We know, and if we nurture that, and I really believe that as our society, as Earth develops, as we advance, here on this planet. I mean, I'm not going to be here, you know.
Yeah,
But as our society, as you know, that these things will be more and more normal, and we will embrace and accept and encourage that kind of understanding instead of suppressing it. But it was just such a beautiful example of what we really know.
it really is.
Yeah. So, oh, we're over 8 o'clock. Ooh. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you. We'll see you Wednesday. We'll let you know what the topic is.